Hello, and welcome back to another episode of TM3 Life. I'm your host as always, Josh, and I'm very happy to have you here. On our last episode, you all finally get to see the home delivery process of a Tesla, and of course in my case, the Model 3. As part of that process, there is a checklist that anyone receiving a new Model 3 should go through to make sure that everything is in check with the Model 3 that you are receiving, mainly due to the high volume of cars that Tesla is currently putting out. In my opinion, the quality control at Tesla is still playing a bit of catch up. So going through a checklist at delivery is really important. There are a slew of checklists out there that you can choose from 10-page documents to just a couple pages. The checklist that I use is actually one that I created with the help from some of the members at the Model 3 Owners Club. This checklist has been linked in my description below in a lot of my most recent videos and will probably be there for the foreseeable future. So if you are in need of a checklist, please feel free to go down to the description and grab a copy for yourself. So back to the upcoming video. The recording of going through the checklist, of course, happened on the same day as the delivery, which is exactly how it should happen. You need to go through this checklist as soon as the car is in front of you and you're taking delivery. The issue for me was that particular day, due to the vehicle arriving at least more than 2 hours ahead of what it was supposed to. Again, that video suffers from horrible audio quality due to the misplacement of the mic for the camera. And so really, just to avoid all that, what I've done is I've just simply narrated over the original audio so that you all can actually hear and understand what's going on through the checklist process. So now let's go ahead and go through the checklist together. Okay, so here's the checklist, and then we're going to check for all 4 valve stems. We have one here, passenger front. We have one here on the passenger rear, and the driver's side rear, and the driver's side front. Okay, we check that off. Okay, all windows auto up and down properly. Drivers auto down, auto up. Passenger auto down, auto up. Back passenger auto down, auto up. Driver's side rear passenger, auto down, auto up. Now we're going to try it from the individual switches. Passenger switch, auto down, auto up. Rear driver's side, auto down, auto up. The passenger rear, auto down, auto up. All those work. We can cross it off. Alright, checking our key cards now. And I'm going to put it against B-pillar. As you can see, it is locked, and it says inside that it is locked and requires a key card to unlock it. And the key card on the back shows you how it works. There it is, unlocked. That key card works. And here's our second key card. You got to try both of them. They only work on the driver's side B-pillar. That's a lock, and that's an unlock. So both key cards work. Now we're going to make sure that the charge port door sits flush with the tail light and everything else. There it goes, it's closed. And it does sit flush. Check that off. Now we're checking for condensation. And the rear taillights. There was none that I could find on the day of delivery, but that did spring up later on. Alright, now we're checking for smudges and or tears in the leather. The door does have some marks and grease, probably people reaching in there. Open and shut the door. Let's check out this driver's side seat where the leather is extremely smooth. I don't know if it's just the white interior or all of it, but it feels like butter. It's very soft, comfortable. There does seem to be a smudge there on the seat. Yep, right there. There's also one actually up there, a little line as well. It's like a brown or red smudge. Okay, passenger door looks fine. Check out the seat. Scrap piece of paper from got left behind from detailing the car. Don't see any smudges on this seat. Seems to be in good shape. The passenger rear door is fine. And we have the rear seat. And in the rear here, we also want to check to make sure that the seats fold like they're supposed to. And because we also want to check the leather in the back of the seats as well, where they cinch up against the rear deck there. Check out the cup holder, armrest. Leather on this seems to be fine, and the headrest. Let's check the leather on that. Seems good. Close this headrest back down. Check underneath the seat belts, make sure there's nothing there. We're going to give this seat a more detailed check from this side. That door seems fine. Again, we're going to just check the seat over a little closer. We're also going to make sure that this seat folds down properly. It does. Check underneath the seat belt. Leather looks good on the seats, no tears. A couple smudges, but I was able to get those up with some wipes later on, so not a big deal. Check that off. So now we're just checking the rims, and we'll also be checking the underneath of the car to make sure that there are no scrapes or scuff marks during loading and unloading of the vehicle, as this thing takes a train. I don't know, it might be multiple trains, but it definitely takes trains and trucks. And this was a home delivery, so I took an additional truck to my house. There was some dirt on there, but no scuff or marks on the wheels whatsoever. All four wheels are fine. Now underneath the front bumper, taking a peek down through. I do see a scuff here on the plastic. Not that concerned about that. But as I look closer, it did scrape some paint right off to the black of the bumper. So that's going to have to be fixed. This side, the same scrape, but no paint off the bumper on that side. Now we're going to check the rocker panels, make sure that those look okay. Of course, while you're under here checking the rocker panels, you also want to make sure that you check the full floor pan, just to make sure that there are no dents or anything in the battery itself. Check the rear bumper and the diffuser as well for any scrapes or scratches due to loading or unloading. And rear bumper and diffuser seem fine. We're on the driver's side rocker panel, checking the paint. And also the battery tray or pan or whatever you want to call it, the floor underneath, to make sure that that looks okay as well. Yep. Everything looks good underneath there, so it looks like we just have the scrape on the front bumper. And so I'm going to go ahead and write that down as well so that I make note of any damage as I go through the checklist. Next thing on our list is to go ahead and check the dash for any scuffs or marks. We're going to look through the windshield first, and then we'll take a look from the inside of the vehicle. There were reports of some vehicles that had what looked like to be a sticker mark on the dash, and that's what we're looking for, just to make sure there are no weird markings. And on this dash, everything looks clear. Okay, now we're checking the alignment of the chrome trim around the car, and there are a few spots to make sure that it lines up. Right there, right there, right there. Everything's good. Now on the driver's side, checking it out. Also looking for dents as well. It's good there. There's the alignment piece there. It also lines up there. So mine line up perfectly. Also going to check to make sure that the repeater chrome pieces aren't dented. Everything's good. Okay, so now we're going to make sure that all the doors, trunk, and everything open and close properly. Every door in here is electronically actuated, and when you push in to open the door handles, the window does go down, and then when you shut the door, the windows go back up. The trunk opens up just fine. It is a fairly large trunk, actually. Quite a large trunk. There's actually a big cubby underneath as well, which I don't show you in this video, but it's quite large underneath because there is no gas tank. Right there is our front license plate bracket, and in this package is our chrome Model 3 rear license plate frame, which I will be using. Those are our front and rear license plate screws, so we have them. I'm showing you here there are pull handles to close the trunk, although it is very difficult because the struts are really strong and the complexity of the hinges is hard. So usually people can only get it about this far, and then they get to put their hand either on the top of the trunk or down there where the license plate works. But with one fell swoop, you can close the trunk with those handles that I showed you. And yeah, all the doors seem to be working just fine. You can cross that off. Okay, so now we're looking for panel gaps. This was a big issue in the early build cars. You know, my car seems to be fine so far. I do notice that on the hood on the driver's side that gap is a little closer than it is on the passenger side. It's not that big of a deal. I'm not horribly concerned about panel gap as long as it's decent to the eye. Every car has panel gap issues. I don't care if it's a Mercedes, BMW, Lexus, they all have them. And to my surprise, my Model 3 panel gaps seem to look very good. Take a look at the trunk here. It looks good. Yep, everything looks fine there. Check out this door gap. That's fine. And this door gap. And that's fine. Very happy with my panel gaps. That also is fine, and the fender is also good to go. Check that off. Now we're just making sure that all the mats are installed in the car. So we do have the both front mats installed there. Opening up the frunk so we can make sure the front mat is open. Rear mat is installed. I did get it dirty, as you can see. Alright, take a look at the front mat. There's a piece of Velcro that holds the front mat in place. It's slid forward because of the weight of the mobile connector, which I'm going to go through right now and make sure that everything in there is there and accounted for. So let's go ahead and open that up. And in there you should have this adapter, which is your J1772 adapter, which allows you to connect to other level 2 chargers, and you have your 110 and 240 adapters. Closing the front takes a little bit of effort. You need to use both hands on each side of the T. I like to use the palms of my hands to make sure that I get a good firm press. And there you go. Closed and everything is good. Okay, make sure the front and rear USBs work. Don't have my cable, I'll check that later. We do have the front license plate frame. We checked and made sure that was there. And now we're gonna, oh yeah, the 2 lightning and USB thingies were installed. Now we're going ahead and check the headliner for any marks or smudges or tears. As the cars are unloaded, they may tend to get marks on them from people getting in and out. For some reason, people like to grab onto headliners. I don't understand why, but some people do. So let's check from the rear and make sure we don't have any marks. We have coat hooks on both sides. Make sure those both work. They do. And check. Now we're going to look for smudges on the front bumper where the headlights were installed. Earlier cases, headlights were being installed when the bumper paint was still fairly wet or not completely cured, and it was leaving some nasty gouges. These headlights seem to be in good shape. Go ahead and check that off. Okay, make sure windows don't exceed height limit. Yep, that's fine, we check that. Now we're going to check and make sure that the glass roof seal is intact and in good shape, and that the glass pieces are aligned properly on the roof and they're not shifted one way too far on either side. Everything here seems to be in good shape. Check that off. Okay, make sure the HVAC fan doesn't make any noises. I tested that, that's fine. Make sure the VIN matches the paperwork. I did that. Make sure the rear license plate Model 3 frame is there. It is. Make sure that we have 2 key cards. We have them. And the universal mobile connector is there. And full paint inspection. As always, this is TM3 Live saying, let's keep those batteries charged.